Do I have everybody's attention now?
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at two. Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Hello, Stephanie.
It was me, Austin.
It was me, Austin. One of the worst reveals of all time. But this is one of the best reveals of all time. It's Kick Out at 2, your favourite wrestling podcast. And it's our Halloween special.
That we came up with last night.
Yeah. And that we have been building on. We slow burnt this for a few weeks now. You might have noticed some hints in the last episode that we were going to do a Halloween episode. Just like WWE has been slowly building up the White Rabbit, we built up little hints here and there, which was basically
just bits from my front room.
Yeah, which was vomited all over the set, along with a very good pod bearer. And now we are in our Halloween episode.
No, it gets me every time.
In our Halloween episode where we are going to talk about. This was your idea, so I want you to come up with what we're talking about, so we can have cross definitions.
Just spooky wrestlers, just wrestlers that were, either give you the creeps or that you were scared of for whatever reason, just that made an impact on you, scared you.
Okay.
Whichever reason.
Now, before we start, don't forget to go to email us for future stuff, for future topics.
Check out to podcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Also on any of the socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'm not even touching my fingers there. I'm there going naming them, just going. But yeah, we're on them. Just send us a message. Just have a chat with us.
And if you do send a message, one of the things you can send us is your sign of the episode. We get a wrestling sign that you have seen or liked or we've seen. It can be from a current wrestling episode, might be from your local shows or one you've seen in the past. This one was nominated by a Philip Kennedy from Bolton.
I'm not from Bolton.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're Philip Kennedy from Bolton.
I'm not from Bolton.
It's canon now. So
No.
And this one was spotted at...
it was, WrestleMania 20, I think 29.
WrestleMania 29. And
also, it's definitely on the theme of spooky.
Yeah.
So, it's I wouldn't quite go with them as Halloween.
No.
Yeah, just shut the sign.
But yeah, there you go. Purple Aki. Simple as that. Yeah, and he has shown me the sign since, and yes, there was some things that people got away with during the COVID years, and some of the...
This was pre-COVID.
Was it pre-COVID?
Yeah.
What year was this, sorry?
It was WrestleMania 29, so I think it was about... I don't know what we're up to now.
I have no
nearly
clue.
Closer to 10 years.
To be fair, though, it's a UK thing, so it definitely will have completely... gone past
it's a Merseyside thing.
Yeah.
I'd even go more precise than northwest to Merseyside. Even a bit of Wales.
If you've listened to the pod for a while, you'll know who Purple Aki is. If not, go back, listen to some of the archived episodes. You'll learn.
Or just Google Purple Aki.
Yeah.
And he
learn.
is a person that lurked around close to where I used to live when I was a kid. But I was never... of his stature or his preference, so I don't think I was ever in any danger.
No. So with that in mind, if you want to see your sign here, just comment, email, let us know.
Anything will improve on that.
Yeah. So we're going to go into spooky characters. I want to go first.
Yeah.
The only reason I want to go first is I don't think I've got that much. And you're probably going to guide me more here. Right? Because I don't know what it was, but I either A, didn't find characters scary, or B, I just don't remember them, or whatever. It's weird. So I've gone, decided to go with a modern one first, rather than go to the predictable old ones. Let's go straight in with modern one. Darby Allin.
Right, cool.
Not saying he scares me, but the whole spooky
aesthetic of
yeah, but it's good. It's not cheesy. It's the year 2022. You could easily do it and it come across so gimmicky and cheesy. And in fact, some wrestlers have tried to make fun of him for it.
The thing is, though, what I really appreciate about Darby Allin is the fact that if you look at his socials and stuff like that, he is kind of like that in real life as well.
Yeah.
Like, very much like to... he was doing some of Nitro Circus a few weeks ago on a trike, doing backflips on a trike and stuff like that. And, you know, he's very sort of...
I commend anyone who gets the full arm bones tattoo.
And back spine.
And spine.
Yeah.
And he's just committed to just the whole... It's weird because he doesn't come across as moody, broody, evil. Especially with Sting as well. You would think... I don't know, it's just got this whole... It is spooky aesthetic and it comes off as serious, but it doesn't... It just steps near that fine line but doesn't ever cross it of being too much.
Do you know where he's got his name from?
No.
So it's Crash Darby from the Germs.
Right.
And then
G.G.
Allen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It is like a punk thing. That's the thing. I think he's just like a goth punk.
Yeah.
And that's where the spooky's coming from. He's not trying to be like spooky in itself. It's just the aesthetic of what he listens to.
It's not really like, it's more, it's not like a written character for him. It's more of an exaggerated character of his personality.
And the makeup sometimes as well. Sometimes he's a bit like, not lazy, but sometimes he goes with the basic kind of like Halloween like skull. But then there's the times when it's like black metal artwork.
Yeah.
Like the detail going into it. It's great.
Other times it's just smudged. And that looks really cool as well. It looks like he's literally done it and gone, nah.
He just knows how to mix it up. And to also be a wrestler who can take a coffin and make it a little bit of his own, considering there's one other wrestler who really owns the coffins and caskets.
Yeah.
And he's definitely taken that, and it's not any... I think the first time I went to watch the match, I was like, oh, go on, give him an Undertaker match. And then by the end of it, I was going, you know what, that wasn't an Undertaker match. And now I don't... he's had a few matches now, and I don't roll my eyes.
But you could have a drinking game of the amount of times you hear Tope Suicida.
He is the master of that, by the way.
And he's proper, like, in a lot of wrestlers that do that move, kind of like do it like arms first and kind of then go down, and the camera has to switch away quite quickly because it's done sort of so safely. And I don't mean that in a bad way, I just mean it's sort of like, it looks
they
like
go
they kind of just pushed him
first and then they're trying to focus on landing. Darby careens his whole body, so in fact it's more like the back.
Literally lands on his neck
the
many
back
times.
hits. It's almost like a cannonball, but he's just not rolling up.
But have you seen? I've seen a couple of times where he's actually hit them and then landed on his feet and carried on.
Oh, have you?
And it's like, what? And no one going to comment on that? The fact that how smooth that was. He actually fully cannonballed, then landed on his feet and just carried on.
He's quick.
Yeah.
He's quick, and it's just as long as he's that quick and fast, that also adds to the character as well.
It kind of bothers me that he sometimes just gets used as a jobber. Like, he clearly, like, it just...
They are biding their time. They're going to wait till he's a bit bigger. Yeah. Like, I think he has been putting on a bit of muscle mass.
I do enjoy the Brody King Darby Allin matches.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like a bit sort of... Brody King's going to beat him. Like, you know, you can see like twice the size of him, but then he actually does get a lot of good moves in, and like it is a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, because Brody King thinks he's going to win.
I always think he's a bit of we might end up talking about him later, but I think he's a bit of a modern day Mick Foley, is Darby.
Yeah.
In the sense of
Mankind.
Yeah. In the sense of how he treats his character. Yeah. The fact that he can be he's a bit of a giant killer. So when Mick Foley Mankind first goes up against Undertaker just been on such a streak, he's just put against big guys. Mankind hunched is not that, doesn't look as much, but then beats him. Yeah. And it's like, well, and you can see Undertaker's like, how do I beat someone who enjoys pain?
Yeah,
and I think there's a bit of that with Darby Allin. He's not advocating pain, but he doesn't fear pain.
Yeah, the Undertaker and like Mankind thing is like, how can you hurt somebody that hurts themselves?
Yeah,
more, like who rips their hair out and stuff like that. That's what.
And they've done it a few times in AEW where the wrestlers coming out or whatever, midway through their entrance, and he just comes out of nowhere and just takes them down, and it makes you jump and go, oh, holy crap.
Think, like, it's his sheer, like I said, that when he jumps at someone, he doesn't look at the landing. No. He just slams down and just carries on. Like,
he's got rubber bones at the moment, and good for him.
Yeah.
However long that can last when you're that age. I remember having rubber bones.
Yeah, I remember that, and now I just hurt myself getting out of bed in the morning. Sometimes it's just slept funny. I feel like I've got like a pop the lung. I'm just like, ah.
So yeah, that was my number one.
Nice, good choice.
All right.
Mine's going back to when I was a kid, and I remember seeing this character and thinking, that is terrifying. Papa Shango.
I have Papa Shango.
Yeah, Charles Wright.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I have Papa Shango.
Yeah, just because like he's a big dude. But I didn't know until, of course, I know now, what later years, that he was Godfather as well.
Yeah.
You know, when you sort of go, oh, no.
It's so obvious when you look back, but
like,
yeah, I didn't know.
You know, like when sort of you kind of like watch YouTube videos later on and look at stuff and go, oh, early on in his career, blah 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 blah. Really? Like, yeah.
No, I have a friend called Danny who told me a story about Papa Shango where when he wrestles Ultimate Warrior, he poisons him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to go back and watch that. So I went back and watched it, and yeah, it's quite scary. And he said to me I remember like as a kid genuinely worrying about Ultimate Warrior, almost crying. And then he described, you could see that what was coming out of his mouth was glowing and his eyes were glowing green and everything. So I went back and watched it because I went, really? They did that back in like the early 90s with the graphics. So I went back. Doesn't happen. So then I showed him the footage and he was going, no, I vividly remember that. So we tried to find it and couldn't. And he went, you know what? I may have added that on in my head because that's how scary it was. Yeah. That's how terrifying it was. To him, it was not just like a little bit green vomit. It was glowing and it was like eerie.
You in your head is this terrifying thing.
And it is scary. I think now if you look back, if you go back and watch those kind of matches, some people who are meant to be scary might come off a bit goofy. I don't mean to be mean, but like Kamala comes off a bit like that, but he was at the time meant to be scary.
I think because I was looking at Kamala, but then I was just like, he wasn't that scary because of his character.
They toned him down in WWF, to be fair, but when he was in the territory days, apparently he was absolutely terrifying. Yeah. Like he was brutal, basically. Yeah. So they toned down, made him a little bit. But in WWF, it was still meant to be like when he snapped, that was meant to be the scary part.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch it, it's not really that terrifying. Papa Shango, I guarantee you'll still go, ooh, that's got a different tone compared to everything else right now.
Because like he cursed everybody. Like,
but not in a Danhausen way.
Yeah, no, not in a Danhausen way. Like, but yeah.
Oh God, I'm picturing this weird cross now between The Godfather and Danhausen.
God, imagine like I Danhausen would accidentally join Right to Centre. I'd be like, no, I don't want any of this. I just didn't want any swearing.
Yeah, no swearing.
No, no swearing. Like, girls, that's fine.
Are there any pimps up in this house?
Oh, God, no.
And the jokes keep coming. No, yeah, I have Papa Shango as well. It's, again, like you said, it's just different, wasn't it? It was just different, and that's what I noticed as I went back through these.
I think because he was such a big guy, like a powerhouse character, it was, like I said, it was that right use of character that it was scary and it wasn't goofy. Like a lot of big guys, they sort of either lean too much on the gimmick and can't wrestle that well, but it was the perfect gimmick, even though it didn't last that long.
And he didn't get any like titles or anything. He had I think he had title chances, but he didn't get a title until he was Godfather. He got the Intercontinental.
Yeah, I thought he got it with Papa Shango, but probably not.
No, I don't think he did.
And he was in Nation of Domination before Godfather as well.
Yeah,
See, in my head it was Kamala, but then Kamala's
he had just a very normal name. a normal name. But it's besides the point. Papa Shango was one of his a great moment, and I feel like gets forgotten about because of how good the Godfather character is. It gets forgotten about. I'm gonna then go on that era. There was one other wrestler, which then unfortunately did become a bit goofy. Doink. Doink originally was terrifying.
Yeah.
I remember when COVID started, and take a drink if you do this. There's probably a drinking game of the amount of times JB brings up when he started rewatching wrestling over COVID.
Speaking of drinks, I'll quickly open my kind of
Cracker Shango.
Cracker. Oh, I'm normally the one with the puns.
I know, yeah. Something in the water today. So when I restarted it.
To be fair, your can does kind of look like it Doink the Clown would drink it.
It's a happy pink lemonade.
Yeah.
When he comes out, compared to all the other wrestlers, they have this really eerie, like, circus music. He comes out looking kind of disgruntled and grumpy, and then one of the only times that it's important, I've said this before, that commentators talk about the character for the audience build up. They quickly embellish that he's not a good clown, he's a horrible clown. He just clearly wants to make children unhappy.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like a real like dark thing.
You kind of like
who wants to make a child unhappy?
It's something you hear and you don't process correctly and go, that's a bit weird. And then when you actually like dissect what was been said, you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's pretty messed up.
It is, man. It's not like he's bad at entertaining kids and happens to make them unhappy. He likes to make them unhappy, and that put a little dark twist on it. And then you've got obviously clowns, and not the easiest thing for people to watch anyway.
It's one of them things that like it's a good portion of people are not going to like him based on the fact that he's a clown.
And then how good he was in the ring. The original Doink was, he was very technical, especially for that time. So technical that obviously Vince McMahon, who's not an expert on wrestling names of moves, would just always say during like he does like these 5 moves that you would see like Daniel Bryan now do, go, oh, he's such a gifted wrestler. People overlook. Look at that! What a maneuver!
Yeah,
just all the time.
I don't know what he's doing. I'm just going to comment on it though.
Just it's a maneuver, oh, like that. And that was what was scary. And he would normally make. I feel like he made a lot of his first matches when I watched. He makes them tap out, which again wasn't a common thing. There was like a clear finishing move, pin, celebrate. He would tap them out. Which
was it with his the arm bar thing?
He did, yeah.
It was called a stump puller.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, but he just Doink, man. And then it wasn't until they had to switch him for someone else that they made him go a little bit
goofy. Then.
Bit goofy, and you're like, oh, he's attacking all the. And then they got Dink.
Yeah, I was toying with the idea of Doink, but yeah.
Early Doink is
Doink.
scary. Scary early Doink.
Well, I'm going to stick with that era and go with Abdullah the Butcher.
Now, I'm glad you said this. This is what I was alluding to before.
Yeah.
I want to be familiar with Abdullah the Butcher. I know of him.
Yeah.
I am aware that he's been in tons of matches. I know kind of like how he wrestled and the fact he just like
It was more the fact that like you were saying before that like people were scared of him.
Yeah.
Like, and the fact that like as wasn't really his character, it was the way he wrestled and the fact that the divots in his head.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Being a kid and seeing that, I was thinking, what is wrong with this guy? Like, why does he have bits of his head like missing? Like, someone said that they could fit a poker chip in the divots in his head.
So what was it? What were you watching this on? What was he in? Was he on WWF?
Yeah.
Was he?
Early, like when I was, like my first time round watching WWE. Like as a kid, I remember being on several matches or pay-per-views and then bleeding and then having to sort of cut away, yeah, and then that was like, oh man, like he's cut, like, you know, and then like seeing later footage of him in smaller shows, like literally just face full of blood and stuff like that.
Because that's what I mean. I've seen like clips of him, a lot of clips. Yeah. I am really interested in him. I think he looks like he was an interesting wrestler and very different for the time. He was
very violent.
Yeah, and very violent, and I think that probably would have scared the crap out of me if I'd seen that as a kid.
Because he just had a different way of wrestling. I remember seeing as a kid, like, every match would go more or less straight outside of the ring, which he didn't, in earlier wrestling. It was, a lot of mat wrestling and stuff like that, and a lot of, I don't know, he just wrestled differently from what I remember him being like as a kid.
He had a lot of matches with Bruiser Brody, didn't he?
Yeah.
And of course he was violent as well, so it's just nothing but just blood and guts essentially. But yeah, I mean, good shout. If you're going down that route, that's what I mean. I feel like I was a bit sheltered from all that, so I didn't get to see all that. But that would have, I think, any wrestler bleeding would have terrified the crap out of me, because it would have made it 20 times more real.
Yeah.
Or that these superheroes in my head are.
And to me, the fact that it was called Abdullah the Butcher already, I was like, yeah, that's well cool. Do
you feel like Vince was trying to revisit that when he came with a Mason the Mutilator?
Yeah, I tried to, yeah. But luckily, Mick Foley had a better,
name.
Yeah, just was better created, and instead of just going, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Butcher, which, I mean, you've got the Butcher and the Blade now, but it's not this.
And going back into the time, Abdullah.
I was going to say that
it's not a Western name, really, is it? So having that and then the Butcher is immediately scarier.
Yeah,
because it
it's foreign. It's just it's foreign sounding, which back then would have terrified people. You've just heard a foreign name.
Yeah.
Immediately you jump to all the stereotypes in your head that you've heard from all your grandparents about wars and stuff, and they're called the Butcher. You just jump straight away to the most terrifying thought in your head. And he's done that on purpose. He's done that on purpose.
He's a big dude as well.
Yeah.
Like a super heavyweight at that time.
He's lovely though.
Yeah.
If you like I said, if you watch Dark Side of the Ring, he's on it a bit, and he's absolutely lovely.
Everyone said he's a genuinely nice guy, so that kind of makes up for a bit.
Yeah. My next one then. I feel like we might as well just get it done, out the way. Undertaker.
Yeah.
That's me. I've got it on.
Yeah.
Let's not dance around it. I don't want to go. We're not going to spend ages and ages on him, because I think we want to do an episode where we do spend ages on him.
Yeah.
But the actual idea of, again, you've got all these wrestlers that are like mostly like angry or happy or bright coloured, and then just this chime, this bell just starts chiming, and out he comes, so stoic and unmoving and pale. And they even refer to him as the dead man.
Yeah. The fact that, like, you had the people like Ultimate Warrior who ran to the ring, and it was like all energy. This, like, I don't know. It just changed the momentum of the match straight away.
It's psychological. Psychological. Like, he's so calm coming to the ring, and then he had that fantastic Michael Myers sit up.
Yeah.
Which was just like terrifying.
Yeah.
I remember, like, I feel like it was late 90s when he was doing all the kind of like running rounds with the, what's his name, the corporation, the ministry.
Yeah.
Didn't see a lot of it, but that's when he did look the most satanic.
Yeah.
Like, as it were, with all the.
See, I liked him like early 90s with the purple.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Like that. Like that's.
I do. When I saw that look,
I
was like, oh shit, that's well good.
Yeah.
That's well, and they clearly tried to 90s him up.
Yeah.
Like how fucking they tried to do it with Spider-Man and Superman in the 90s. They just think by making things look more, I don't know, spiky and detailed. Ugh. But there is some.
That touched the nerve there, didn't it?
Oh, mate. The 90s gave a lot of good things, but they gave a lot of bad things as well, and that was one of them. But I remember that sit-up would always make me just shudder, because everyone would writhe in pain.
Like a lot of horror films and stuff like that, it was an unnatural movement.
Yes.
That you don't sit up like that. As a human being, you kind of use everything. But to physically just do that on your own, it's not easy to do.
No.
And doing that after, like, say, when someone's been beaten down in a wrestling match, when you're a kid, you're like, oh my god, this guy's on like, he can't
And look at his eyes. Oh my god, he hasn't got any eyes. It's just the dead in the back of his head. Yeah. That was a genius move by him.
And the Tombstone Pile Driver, like, it's dead simple, but no one else did that. And the whole arms crossing.
Oh yeah, as he pinned them.
It was just well cool.
And then it's more like, I get why people didn't like the American Badass, because it took the fear away a bit, because it came more like, you're just scared you're going to get a beat down from an angry biker man.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much...
That's kind of when I stopped watching, because I was just like... I think I couldn't watch at that point, for whatever reason.
Sky.
Yeah.
Didn't have the subscription.
Yeah, we didn't have Sky, no. Especially didn't have the sports channels. Yeah.
But I know what you mean, but I remember thinking, like, when that music would play, like Kid Rock, I'd be like... The heckles would go up and back of my head because I was like, oh, someone's getting the shit kicked out of them now. But it wasn't the same as it had been. And then I feel like, I don't know how long it took them to get the bells back, but I hate that one because I've now had to listen to that stupid dead man walking. I
don't even, I kind of forgot that. So.
And it's just like, whenever I hear that, I'm going, who thought this was a good song for The Undertaker? It just sounds so kind of like, I don't know, it's so kind of like cheesy, not country.
But the thing is, you have to remember that in America, their pop music is country music.
Yeah, but then again, it's so pop music. Like, give him when, I don't know when, but they clearly did go back to the bells at some point, and him being a bit more of the dead man again, involving caskets and all sorts. Because I've seen the footage; it definitely happens. But, and I get why people get annoyed then at that phase, but it still doesn't take away from the fact he will be one of the spookiest characters ever invented for the time. Do you know he was called, his original name?
Mad Mark Galloway.
Well, no. I mean, his original name when he debuted, which has been since edited.
He was Kane the Undertaker.
He was Kane the Undertaker, yeah. Clearly had ideas there before.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Next on my list is venturing into a company that I don't think we've actually spoke about on the podcast at all.
Okay.
TNA. The Abyss.
I'm aware of The Abyss.
Yeah. Basically, if you got Mankind and Undertaker and smashed them together and made a kind of like half decent character out of them, you'd get The Abyss.
Right, and what's the kind of like spooky, scary thing about him? Because we've talked about entrances and looks.
A big guy, and he looked like he was... His character was an escaped psychopath patient. That's what he was named as, but like looked like Mankind. Well, like I said, basically Mankind's outfit in an Undertaker style. That's how big he was. He was
right,
like he was like a big version. It was like
I'm picturing him now. Now you've said it, I think I can picture. I've seen
the mask and
I've seen a TNA picture or something. I can picture it a bit now.
He did a lot of good matches with AJ Styles.
Yeah,
a lot of like more hardcore matches, and again more sort of self. How to describe it?
What do you mean, like promos?
No.
This is where you're having a bad brain today.
Yeah.
If you watch a previous episode, I had a terrible brain moment, and he hilariously edited it in. You're having that now.
I am. Yeah. I'm having technical difficulties.
I do look forward to watching TNA.
Yeah.
Like, I am gonna go when I've reached my point that I think I'm gonna get so far into the ruthless aggression era. Yeah. And then I'm gonna struggle, and I might.
There was a lot of good. Like I quite enjoyed TNA because of like the 6-sided ring. It was interesting. It was a bit difficult to watch sometimes because when there was a few more people in the ring, it was hard.
They all go in a corner.
It kind of it was kind of hard to sort of like, you know, like in a 4-sided ring, you could do a lot more in terms of different. You jump that way, you jump that way, you go under there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's sort of like what is it called? Like just
the choreography.
Choreography. There we go.
There we are.
So
together we make one full brain.
Well, 3/4.
Yeah.
Push. So yeah, like you can have better not as good choreography in a six-sided ring. But I can't even remember what I was saying about Abyss now.
Abyss, he was just saying that he had a good run of AJ Styles.
Yeah.
And then you went to say he had his own self. And
he didn't care for himself in terms of pain. Like again, like Darby Allin, like would
he just threw himself around?
Yeah. He was very sort of like he would usually bleed in most matches, or the one getting thrown through stuff or into stuff or things like that.
I'm just gonna, because I'm just watching that camera. I'm sure that camera's gone down.
Yeah,
look, hold on 1 second. Can't wait to see that technical difficulties. Camera sorted now. Right, so we talked briefly about him.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Kane.
Yeah.
I actually think Kane might have been scarier than Undertaker because he was consistent for longer.
Yeah.
Well, I know if anyone out there's like, actually, Undertaker debuted in this okay, but when I was watching, at some point, like I said, Undertaker stopped being spooky and became just a badass. Kane never really didn't stop being spooky for me, and I never got to see the unmasking.
No.
I never got to that point. So for me, he was always just this. He barely spoke, which I'm so glad
just
they got.
when he put on a shirt and tie, that was the end of Kane, like to me. But again, that was later on. And
Kane died for me when I watched like the Royal Rumble 2 Royal Rumbles ago, and he came out, and I can't remember who else was in the ring, but he clearly had some kind of interaction. It might have been Rey Mysterio or someone smaller, and it clearly been the first time they'd seen each other in ages in kayfabe, and he goes like, I was like, is Kane asking for like a hug here?
Hold on, was this not like the Daniel Bryan?
No, it wasn't Danny Bryan. He wasn't in it. And then they go over and like they hugged and then like they high fived and then they wrestle and he was acting really goofy. I was like, this is Kane.
Yeah.
Don't do this to Kane at all. It was like, it was just like, oh, guess I'm Kane.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Because like it worked with like we spoke about it before, but the Team Hell No.
Yeah.
It worked really well because it was just like Kane was like, I don't want to do this at all. I've been forced to do it, and I am the
the big red machine.
The big red machine, and I can't remember if I spoke about it last time, but he actually makes a bin set on fire. You know, doing his flame thing.
Oh yeah.
And because he just goes boom, like that, and the bin in the corner of the room just shoots up in flames. And it was just such a funny moment that like it was great.
But that's what I mean. When all the fire comes up, that was always scary. But for me, the scary part was his entrance. They cleverly cut it to just being like flames and he's out. There was because at first you had the on the keyboards. Late 90s, 2000s. If Kane's interfering in a match, he has the biggest interfere, kick down the door moment than any other wrestler because he. Rather than just the music starts playing and he comes out, the fire immediately goes up at the Titantron. So there's immediate huge bang and the music kicks in instantly and he just comes storming out like that.
He got like some speed on it, didn't he?
Yeah, because it's huge. He's doing the opposite. Kane, like Undertaker has the stoic walk. Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna be like the scary Halloween guy, kind of like psychopath from a Halloween movie who I walk but very fast and you won't outrun me.
What's also scary about Kane, which I'm sure I pointed out in previously talking about him, Kane's exit out of the ring.
Oh yeah, just
there's a fallback. No one else does that, and it is.
Since you've mentioned that, I've noticed that, and I'm always amazed that you're right. No one picks up on it, and no commentator like goes like, "Do you see how I just left the ring?" Yeah. He literally just, if he leaves the ring, just falls out and goes like that.
Literally, yeah, falls, but does it like effortlessly, and like. For a big dude, that's quite scary. Like, because I always think, like, a wrestling ring is like what, like 3 foot, and then like,
some.
Yeah, well, you've got your 3 foot, and that's the base of it, and then everything else. So going down that far every time, just over the back, is quite scary.
Well, and also don't forget that him high flying.
Oh yeah,
again, a guy that big coming at you. It's. I remember as a kid, the pictures was if someone's captured, just like he's that in midair, and it's like fucking Dracula or something just coming out of the night.
Again, I like his clotheslines because he wouldn't just clothesline and go down. He'd roll. He'd slam and then roll into it, and it was just like he was he had his own moveset.
Yeah, Kane had a
way of doing.
He only borrowed what he needed to from Undertaker to make the illicit, like the purring of them. Yeah. But he didn't take too much to make it go, he's just Undertaker too. Yeah. He just was very much his own thing.
Even his choke slams are different because he'd go for the belt like round the bottom of the waist as well.
Yeah.
Just like that bit. And
but that's the other thing when you're watching, when you get up to the badass era and Undertaker's just angry, Kane comes out, you're like, oh shit. Yeah. Now it's bad, and anytime Kane appears, it's. I just wish he got more title. I get why he didn't get title runs as much as he did because, okay, he's got the title now. What can he do?
Yeah. He
can't talk. It takes away too much from at the time. It wasn't really what he did, and
it's not a character that you can give a title to.
No, but it's dead annoying because he's such a force to be reckoned with. Like,
someone like that is more tag team titles. It always will be like, Brothers of Destruction could have done a really good title run, like tag team title run.
Yeah, you're a big advocate for that, aren't you?
Yeah, or he would have been a good long-term hardcore champion.
Yeah, I suppose, because they could have done the whole thing where, like, you get all the people hitting with bins and stuff, and it just does nothing.
Yeah, like it's too much of a gimmick to be the face of the company. Not in a bad way, good way. It's just like it just doesn't. As much as you wanted it to, it just wouldn't work.
In the late 90s, they definitely softened him a bit because like he's getting beaten by other people and stuff like that, and then he kind of like makes friends with X-Pac and then gets his feelings hurt, and then the 2000s they clearly go, right, we need to fix Kane, we've made him too soft. Pair him with Undertaker. At the Rumble, he's going to eliminate everyone. Yeah. Nothing. So we need to make it so Kane is like the big red machine, unstoppable.
I can't remember. He still might hold the record of most eliminations in a Royal Rumble.
I can't remember if that has been taken. I feel like
I know he did at some point.
He definitely held it for a while. I feel like someone took it in the last couple of years.
I think Roman Reigns might have.
It might have been fucking Roman Reigns.
No.
No, I will not. What do they call it? What do they say about Roman Reigns? Is it acknowledge your tribal chief? That's what they say. Acknowledge your tribal chief. I will not acknowledge him. He's not my tribal chief. He's a very naughty boy.
It's like the Donald Trump NoFX t-shirt. Like, not my chief. Just like in black and white.
Yeah, so Kane. I've got that in there.
Yeah, so I was going to mention Vampiro with the previous, but then I thought I only mention him because he's sort of like.
And I wrote Vampiro because I just wanted to acknowledge the Vampiro chief. I just was aware of him. I've seen pictures of him.
Yeah.
I know that he's done. I feel like people go, how can you not talk about him? I never saw him wrestle. If you watch a previous episode, I'd never seen him wrestle. It was never on any program I've watched. So I feel like I've been phoning it in or faking it.
And to be honest, that's exactly how I feel.
Exactly.
I was more.
That's why I'm a good tag team.
Yeah. More into the Misfits wrestling with him than him wrestling
with the Misfits. Yeah. So,
my last one will be The Fiend. This is Bray Wyatt.
This is what I wanted you to tell me about. Yeah. Sell me Bray Wyatt because he's just clearly come back.
Yeah.
Spoiler
alert.
Sorry, I mean, we are definitely like.
Oh yeah,
he'll have appeared by. He'll have been on some episodes now.
Yeah.
He'll be having whatever. The beginning of whatever his storyline is, but tell me, you've sold me to a bit before and like our entrances episode, but really go into this side of it now, the spooky side.
Well, just he's like, to me, probably like the modern day Mankind in terms of like just those weird promos that like just make you feel uneasy, because he did the full Bray Wyatt thing with the Wyatt family, and then after that he kind of released his minions, and then went solo for a bit, and it didn't go that well. So when he came back as a Fiend, he had all these vignettes of the Firefly Funhouse, which is sort of like a Pee Wee Herman style funhouse, or like Mr. Rogers kind of
TV I have seen some clips, and
it it's genuinely weird. Like, you watch it and you go, all right, yeah, fair enough. But then you're like, no, this is dead. He's onto something here. And it's just like, you watch it and go, this is probably as far as you can push it with WWE and the PG rating. Yeah, so like, he's tapped into something which you couldn't, like, no other character has done it, you know, in the limitations of Vince McMahon in this period.
I remember when he debuted The Fiend, there was some people going, this is a bit ridiculous for, like, the modern era of wrestling.
Yeah.
But then they'd said that about Bray Wyatt to begin with because it was so over the top. But then everyone going, oh shit, it works.
Yeah.
He's pulling this off. It actually works.
Yeah.
I think people just didn't like when he teamed up with what's she called? Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
I think a few people didn't like that.
See, I kind of like that because she was kind of like not really going anywhere, so it was kind of like a clever.
It works.
Yeah.
You know, push.
Not going anywhere. That sounds.
It helps get people over. Gives them something.
Yeah, more sort of like in a lot of situations, creative and like don't really know what to do
with you here. Yeah.
Which is not the wrestler's fault at all.
Yeah.
They're an excellent wrestler. Just sometimes, you know,
they get lost in the hustle.
Yeah, because there's so many wrestlers.
But I have seen, like, I have a friend, Ash, who is on the, oh my god, on Ash features on a wrestling podcast called, oh my god, I'm going to kick myself for this, Work the Left. Yes, that was it. It's called Work.
Oh my god, I'm going to kick myself for this, Work the Left. That is one long podcast, dude.
He's on the Work the Left podcast, and he actually, I knew he was a big Bray Wyatt fan, so when he came back...
We've chatted quite a bit about
Bray Wyatt.
You know, because I thought he was going to go to do AEW just with the, you know, like I didn't personally, no. I've read a few things that I agreed with. Sort of was that he could be not replacing, but like Brody Lee was part of.
Oh, the Dark Order.
Yeah, and he was part of the Wyatt family. That he was going to join the Dark Order, and because there was no number 6 in the Dark Order, and it's Wyndham 6. That's his Twitter handle.
So everyone thought.
So everyone, like, you know, put 2 and 2 together and made 5, and
6.
Oh, 6, yeah.
Which would have been that would have been the much better.
That would have been a better joke. Yeah.
That would have been a better joke. You had it right there. You lined it up and you fucked it.
Yeah, no, you've been on the ball for jokes tonight. I've not. So. About possibly going to AEW, and I would have really enjoyed that, but I'm just glad he's back in WWE, so might start watching it again just for him.
Did you see it? Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, you told me to see it. Yeah, it was it made a nod to Brody in how his door opened, because it looked like the door opened when Brody came in AEW, which was quite a nice little nod.
Yeah,
but have you watched all the little vignettes in the build up to it? The little White Rabbit vignettes.
Some of them, yeah.
Did you watch the last one where it was the little tangent. We've been quite tangent free so far this episode, but little tangent. What the fuck is this about? Why does SmackDown have a season premiere? Like, and acknowledge it as well. I get that. Okay, technically you've got to have seasons of a show, I suppose. But to me, wrestling, if it's yearly and weekly, you would just be, right, it's week 1 of the year, let's make this the next season. But why is it, what's the date today? Why are we in, like, the beginning of October? It's a season premiere, so it's a new season. And you could go, oh, it's starting in October, whatever. But then acknowledging it so, like, literally saying, welcome to the season premiere. You were on last week.
Yeah.
Why are you making a big deal out of it? It was just, do you know something I don't? Is there a reason they do it? Or?
I've not a clue.
It really hurt me when I watched that. It would have been like if he says, welcome to, the anniversary of SmackDown.
You don't really go, welcome to episode 2000.
Exactly! I just didn't.
Of SmackDown.
I didn't understand why the season premiere thing. But then, anyway, he changed it. He turns the microphone, it was a QR code. He scanned the QR code. And it did have, like, one of these little eerie things where it was, like, old shots of, like, the Disney pigs, the 3 little pigs, kind of moving about, and it just heard, like, let me in. let me in, like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, ooh.
But there's actually a clip in it that, if you freeze frame it, of the pig character from the Firefly Funhouse for one frame. And someone's found it.
Oh, right.
And screenshotted it. It's actually like...
So that's how everyone knew, it must be.
Yeah.
If you find that frame.
Everyone kind of knew it was him. Like,
I saw some people... I don't know how much you agree with this. How some people were saying they actually didn't like the build-up to Bray Wyatt coming back because they thought it was so obvious by the end of it, in a way, that one, if it hadn't have been Bray Wyatt, they would have fucking gone mental, like angry. Go, what the fuck are you doing? And two, the fact that it was then kind of ruined the surprise and made them impatient for it. Whereas if it had just been Extreme Rules ended, and all the way, someone put this as an idea on Facebook. So all the way through Extreme Rules, you have the lights kind of flickering and going off, and the commentators saying like, "That's odd. Sorry, we're having power issues here. Whatever." You know, if you're smart, Mark, something's up, but you don't know that it's going to be this. And then it happens like it did at the end. The lights go out. And then you hear all the stuff. Wouldn't have that had much more of an impact? It would be like, holy fucking shit, he's come.
The only thing that slightly bothered me. So one bit was really good, cool where they mentioned, "Are we still live on air?"
Yeah.
That was a fun thing. But if you watch it back, Riddle turns around just at the end to see, like, is it going out yet? So he knew that was going to happen. Just, I don't know, he looks...
He looks like he's waiting for the
something
signal
to happen, yeah. Like, he kind of, like, turns around, like, in really awkwardly. And at that point, I knew... it's whether... I knew what was happening when it was happening. And I'm just overanalyzing what he did.
But that's what I mean. Whereas if you did not know...
Yeah.
It was going to... Because everyone knew it was going to be Extreme Rules, something was going to happen. If...
We didn't know.
Exactly. But you kind of did, because there was people there, like, clearly getting impatient.
Yeah. But did you see all, like, the things happening in, like, SmackDown and Raw and stuff, where there was, like, just a guy in a rabbit suit just walking around?
Yeah. But this is what I mean. People, like... I don't know. I kind of see that point of view, but I can see both sides. I think if you're a Bray Wyatt fan, which you are, you were excited for it.
Yeah.
And then you so much so that you messaged me today to say, have you seen the last 10 minutes of Extreme Rules? You've got to watch it. You've got to watch it.
Yeah, just because I wanted to talk about it, with it being a character that I picked.
Yeah.
That I picked.
Well, it's definitely a little excited child side. So you're going, have you watched it?
Watch it. Just, you don't have to watch the rest of it, because it's...
Yeah. Oh, don't get... You said it was the last 10 minutes. Never have I been more disappointed to turn on something that's called Extreme Rules and go to the 10-minute mark before it. And Seth Rollins has got Riddle in a powerbomb position on a top level of a cage. I was like, no, he's not going to powerbomb. He's not. Oh, he's not. He's actually just going to run him into the wall.
Yeah.
Of up that level. And I was like, oh. And then I remember I was thinking, we've fallen so far. Extreme Rules, barely any blood, PG, brilliant. But yeah, sorry, going back, Bray Wyatt and the Fiend.
No, sorry.
Did the Fiend, was he the match that happened where all the zombies came out?
I think so. Yeah, we spoke about this previously, and I've still not gone back and watched this match because it was like.
I think some people said that's where it jumped the shark a bit, because then you're acknowledging that zombies exist.
Yeah,
which was weird. But I will agree with you. A lot of people like Bray Wyatt, and I am. Kind of like, I don't know how. I have asked Ash to send me a list of matches of his to watch, so I've got a big list now that I'm going to go back and watch.
Because, like, with Bray Wyatt as a wrestler, again, a big dude, but he moved fast. He could move fast, and some of his moves were very, what I thought, dead unique in terms of, like, I don't know, the way he'd sort of do, like, not a side slam. It's sort of like lariat clothesline them, but go with it. And it was, for like a big guy, it was dead sort of...
acrobatic.
Yeah, but like in a scary way, because it's a big guy that could move.
That is the scary thing. I think that's one thing you could say when you look at all the people we've picked.
Yeah.
Bar Darby and Doink, big guys who can move as well. Like the fact you can move so fast.
Never even sort of. Yeah, that all my bar Vampiro, who I didn't really choose. Abdul's big, but he was just more sort of violent. Fiend, Abyss, Papa Shango, all big. And Undertaker, I guess.
Yeah, we can all fucking move. I'm surprised you didn't say. I want to give a shout out. The way we gave a shout out to Vampiro, because I'm again not that familiar with him. I'm surprised you didn't say about the Boogeyman.
See, I've mentioned him, but I think because he was later on.
You've not seen enough to really be able to.
He wasn't that. He was more in the gimmicky.
It was more gimmicky than scary.
Yeah, like he was scary, but he wasn't. It wasn't utilised as
like
scary.
Gangrel.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because I don't think I found Gangrel scary at the time. I thought it was cool, but I don't think I found it scary.
Yeah, I think I was too old to. It was like the. Was it Ruthless Aggression era?
Ruthless Aggression.
Possibly like that era. Like again, when I sort of slightly stopped watching. Where, like,
we all did.
Yeah.
To a degree, we all did.
Yeah.
And then that's why he went PG, because he was like, you're losing us. So, kids of the future,
like
man.
15, 16, it's like, oh, wrestling's not cool anymore, I can't watch it. I think I just was playing too many shows. I think there was just not enough time. I was never in the house at that age, so...
I remember someone running to school saying Chris Benoit's killed his wife. And I was like, what? And I hadn't watched it for a little while. I was like, what? What are you on about? And they were like, Chris Benoit's killed his wife. And I was like, what, on the show? Like, I don't understand. I was like, I don't understand what you mean.
Worst plot ever.
And they were like, no, it's like, he's fucking killed his wife. I was like, holy shit. And they were like, didn't you used to watch wrestling? I was like, yeah. Well, like it's my fault all of a sudden. I was like, I don't know.
He should have tapped out. I think I've said that every time we spoke about Chris Benoit and still.
Oh God, we are going to hell.
Yeah.
But you know what? There is one more I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
I've just realised. Sneak it in at the end because he was seen as I'm only going to say it because I've not watched enough of his matches, but I have seen a lot of his promos. Jake the Snake.
Oh, you think that now?
No, Jake the Snake. A lot of people found him scary because the difference between him at the time, I remember all the wrestlers shouted and screamed like, "I'm going to teach you a thing or two about pain" and stuff like that. Whereas he spoke in a very quiet
he was
voice.
genuinely scary because he's someone that you can tell who's been through a lot
yeah.
as a person, and they are scary people because they're just genuinely...
He looked unhinged, but calm and unhinged.
Which is even scarier than like someone who's actually...
And like he made kids cry when he set fucking his python on Macho and bit him. Not like that. This is a family show. But yeah, just I've watched a lot of his promos and gone back, and it is like he's brilliant. He's probably one of the best promo givers of all time, and it is just because of that. Psycho Sid tried it, but he spoke too quiet. He would speak like this. You could barely hear him over the cheers of the crowd. Jake spoke, and people stopped and they listened because they wanted to hear what sick thing he was going to come up with next, and what kind of like depraved. Like, have you seen the promo? Did I send you it where he locks the Ultimate Warrior in a casket? So Ultimate Warrior's got a match with the Undertaker, so he goes to Jake for help to like learn to train for it, and Jake just goes, "You've got to think like him. I'm going to put you in a casket." And the whole thing, I think Jake had a lot of say in it of how it was filmed, and it's like a small 5-minute horror film. Of like, because the Warrior starts panicking and doesn't like it, and the Warrior never shows any sign of panic. He's the Ultimate Warrior, and Jake's just like calmly like going, "No, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine." It's almost like, you know, when you're just like covering the mouth of someone slowly taking them out. It's like, "It's fine, don't worry." And it's so disturbing to watch. And I like now watching it back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, that is not family friendly. But
that's weird. Yeah.
So yeah, give Jake the Snake a big thumbs up of being scary for all different reasons compared to other people. So yeah, if you can think of any wrestlers who might miss out that were scary, maybe you've got a good Vampiro match or story you want to recommend to us. Don't forget to email us at...
There is a vampire. Sorry,
Oh, go on.
there is a Vampiro figure that I do want to buy, just because I've never because
It's because it's better than
I'm not
money.
going to say where it is, because if anyone does buy it and it's not there when I go, and it's because of
You'll
this
know.
podcast, I'll be really annoyed. But then again, it has been about 6 months since I've been in the shop. Because it's not in a, it's like in a like vintage shop. So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
And it was 30 quid, and it's one of them where it's like, I don't want it that much, but now I think about it, I kind of do want it.
Things you'd rather have than money. I get all the time. I'm honestly, my finger keeps hovering over a Sesame Daddy t-shirt every day, and I'm like, no, just you're saving for stuff right now, and you're doing that. I'm like, but then my brain goes, yeah, but Sesame Daddy. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unload there.
Yeah.
There's a lot you can edit out of that. And trust that you don't. Yeah, kickout2podcast@gmail.com for anything like that. If you've got any sign recommendations, again, don't forget you can send us them on that.
Yeah.
And comment on any of our socials, which are all
Kickout2 podcast.
And 2 is the word,
TWO.
not the number.
I had to think then. Like,
No,
I
you
was
shouldn't
about
do
to
that, you
say
let
the email
yourself-
address, and no. So yeah, just search on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and yeah.
That's everything.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to Halloween podcast. Oh, with me, Podbearer.
It's time to stop the damn match.
It's time to stop the damn match.